Hi, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Paizo Keynote for Gen Con 2023. It has been an amazing year for us at Paizo and with the Pathfinder and Starfinder brands this year, but we are only getting started. We have a ton of programming all weekend long here at Gen Con and a bunch of stuff to talk about right here in this presentation. Before we get any further, let me introduce myself. I am Erik Mona. I am the publisher and chief creative officer at Paizo, and I am so excited to be with you again for the best 4 days in gaming, whether you're at the show in Indianapolis or participating in a variety of online venues where we're running games and streaming panels. We welcome you to the industry's big annual get-together. We're here, folks. This is Gen Con. Oh my gosh, here we go. We have so much to discuss. So let us start today by just acknowledging what an insane and awesome year it has been for Pathfinder. The beginning of the year started with some terror and some horror about what was going to happen with the open game license, which had been stable for more than 20 years. All of a sudden, oh my gosh, it didn't look stable anymore. And so we kind of said, we don't really need it anymore. And we, with a coalition of hundreds of other publishers, put together something called the ORC license. And the response from the community was absolutely great. We've got more new players of Pathfinder 2nd Edition than at any time before. We're so excited to have all of you on board. And boy, have we got some fun stuff to show off to you here at the show throughout the whole weekend. So this keynote, I'm going to talk a little bit at the front, and I'm going to come back a little bit at the end. But in the middle, we're going to have key stakeholders from Paizo's creative team to talk to you about upcoming releases for the Pathfinder role-playing game. We're going to talk about some stuff we've never talked about in public before today that you're going to be one of the first people to hear about, which is super awesome. We've got members of our Lost Omens team coming to talk about the High Helm Dwarf Kingdom supplement that we're putting out this year, as well as the new Sky King's Tomb adventure path, which is basically happening right now. And we also have news from Organized Play. Organized Play, of course, is a huge part of what is going on at Gen Con, whether it be upstairs in the Sagamore Ballroom, where we've been for over a decade, or if it's online through our Discord that we've got running. Your cheat sheet for everything Paizo that is going on at Gen Con is paizo.com/Gen Con. So you don't need to take notes while I'm going through all this stuff. You can just pop over to paizo.com/Gen Con. You'll get a whole schedule of all the panels that we've got going on, ways to get involved with the Organized Play gaming. There is a table for you, whether you are physically at the show or participating online. We are so excited to get to know you and to game with you this weekend. And let's get into it. So, like I said, 2023 has been a super strong year. We put out the treasure vault for Pathfinder, tons of magic items and new gear. We put out ports of call for Starfinder with lots of different spots where you can go in a sort of post Drift Crisis world in the Starfinder game and galactic setting. We've got the Gatewalkers adventure path. Things are going strong, but they are gonna get stronger. Got a couple of quick late-breaking updates that I wanted to share with you. One of the first things, speaking of Organized Play, that we're super, super stoked for is that starting on August 30th, we will be giving Pathfinder and Starfinder Society scenarios the same treatment on Foundry VTT that we've been giving our Pathfinder Adventure Pass. So each of these modules will be keyed to the entire season of play, and we will continue to update it throughout the year. And it's you can sign up for a streamlined version that provides maps and tokens for those who already have the PDFs, or you can get a deluxe version that includes fully styled journals containing all the adventure content. Keep an eye on the Paizo blog for updates on this and other exciting announcements throughout the week. So speaking of exciting announcements, at Gen Con, we always like to do some fun stuff at the show, at the booth. And this year we have got some amazing booth specials that I want to just take a minute to talk to you about. On the off chance you're watching this while online at Gen Con, or you're close enough, you can just rush to the booth. We'd love to see you. And at the Paizo booth, we've got a special limited edition set of dice that tie into our Rage of Elements hardcover release for Pathfinder. That's releasing at the show. And to celebrate, our friends at FanRoll have provided a limited number, about 60 sets per day. It is a limited number of elemental dice sets. So what this is it's like a blind bag, but you get a full set of dice. One of those is going to have a goblin head sort of floating in the middle of it. And then all the other dice are going to be keyed to one of the elements. So we've got a metal die, we've got wood dice, we've got dice that look like they're made of fire and water. And which die is which will be different for everybody. So you can kind of mix and match with your friends if you want. We're going to have 60 of those every single day. It's a 7 die set, limited edition. No two sets are alike. That's going to be $70. They are really high quality dice. $70 with $100 qualifying purchase at the Paizo booth. We also have partnered with another of our favorite virtual tabletops, and that is Roll20. And we've got a special promotion with Roll20 this weekend to distribute codes for the Pathfinder beginner box on Roll20. We have a limited number every day at the booth. So your mission, if you want to get a free code for the beginner box and a free month on Roll20 Pro, is to find Rachel in our booth. Look for Rachel, and you have to find Rachel, and you have to say to Rachel, I want to get this right. You need to tell Rachel that you want to learn to play Pathfinder on Roll20, and Rachel will provide you with a code that will get you right in. Our partners at WizKids have also stepped up, and we have a number of limited edition special miniatures that are going to be available at the booth and in the Sagamore Ballroom this year. We've got a Hiringar Sharpshooter, we've got a Gnome Hookhammer Lurker, a Gateborn Rogue, and Swarm Shock Troopers. And we're going to have a different figure every day in the Paizo booth. And you'll get one of those with a $50 purchase. If you want all 4, come by each day and find something in the booth to buy, and we'll be able to set you up. We also have 2 additional special figures that will be distributed to players who participate in the Starfinder Society Special and the Pathfinder Society Special on Friday and Saturday evening, respectively. That's going to be an Elf Rogue figure and a Jinsoul Marauder figure from their Starfinder line. So please, if you've already got tickets to join us in the Sagamore, we got some free miniatures for you. It's always really fun to walk table to table and hand out some free miniatures to the folks who are there for our special events. If you are not at the show, again, go to paizo.com/GenCon, and there's full description of how to get involved with our online play. We have GMs ready to teach you the game. If you already know how to play the game, ready to run you through an amazing Pathfinder or Starfinder Society adventure. Or adventures. You can play all weekend if you want. We have all weekend long a special code, or not a special code, but a special promotion on Paizo.com as well. So we are doing a special of 23 for 23. There are 23 different products, and these are like good products, like the core rule books, other key products across both Pathfinder and Starfinder. All versions of those products are on sale for 23% off. You can go to paizo.com/store, and that will give you the rundown as to which products are in this promotion. You don't even need to input a code. They're just automatically going to be 23% off through Monday, August 7th at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time. So don't delay. Check out paizo.com. And you can get 23 for 23% off to celebrate 2023. We also are going to be streaming some panels throughout the week. Again, paizo.com/GenCon will give you the rundown on that. We have an official panel every single day. We are going over Rage of Elements, which is the brand new Pathfinder hardcover that comes out here at the show, debuts the Kineticist class, goes deep into the air, fire, earth, water, but also metal and wood planes. So we've got some additional elemental planes. We have all kinds of lore about the elements, about elemental creatures, new ancestries for your characters. Lots of really fun stuff in that book. In that book also gives a bit of a preview to some of the slight changes that we're making with the Pathfinder Remaster project, which starts in November of this year with the release of Pathfinder Player Core and Pathfinder GM Core. In the process of transitioning from the open game license to the Orc license, there are a few sort of old familiar friends that we inherited through the OGL that we have given a little bit of a buff and shine and a revision to throughout the remaster process. And the Rage of Elements book is really your first look in a major way at some of those changes. So we'll have lots more to say about that in our panels throughout this weekend. We're also going to do some previews of the Pathfinder Remaster project in general, and then go deep into High Helm and Sky King's Tomb, a combination source book and dwarf themed underground adventure path that we are doing in our Pathfinder Adventure Path line. We'll also have some updates later in this panel, the keynote from the Starfinder team, who have some pretty exciting things to share as well. We are streaming all these panels online this weekend at twitch.tv/official Paizo. Official Paizo is the name of our Twitch channel. We will be running these panels during the show. Come check them out. Again, the full schedule is at paizo.com/GenCon. Oh my gosh. So that is kind of the long and the short of it. Lots of stuff going on. 23 for 23 on Paizo.com. We've got special promotion dice and miniatures at Paizo or at Gen Con itself. Come on, join us at the Sagamore Ballroom if you've never been up there. It is quite a sight to behold. Giant Pathfinder and Starfinder banners, hundreds and hundreds of Pathfinder and Starfinder players looking for new friends, looking for new companions. Great opportunity to throw some dice. After all, Gen Con is all about gaming. So join us either at the Sagamore Ballroom or online at paizo.com/GenCon, and we will get you in a game. Woo! I feel like that is a lot. Hopefully you've been not taking copious notes, because again, you can just go to paizo.com/GenCon for all the info. But now I would like to introduce members of the Pathfinder design team who have some amazing things to show you about upcoming projects, some things that we have not announced, and some awesome insight into what's ahead for the Pathfinder role-playing game. Following that, we'll be hearing from our organized play team. We'll be hearing about Sky King's Tomb. And again, stay tuned for a special announcement from the Starfinder team. I'll come back at the end and we will say our farewells. But in the meantime, I hand you to the Pathfinder design team for their update on what's ahead for the Pathfinder role-playing game. Take it away.
Thank you, Eric. So I'm Logan Bonner. I'm the Pathfinder lead designer, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a project that we just released and the remaster project that's coming up later this year. First of all, Rage of Elements just came out. This is a hardcover book that's all about the elements, using 6 elements and their elemental planes. We have recently introduced the planes of metal and wood, 2 elements that have kind of been away from the scene of the cosmos for a long time and have just reopened and are changing things up in a really interesting way and adding to air, earth, fire, and water to create a new status quo and a new set of opportunities for elementalists in Pathfinder. The Kineticist class is kind of one of the main showpieces of this book. If you want to be the kind of person who uses elements repeatedly, nonstop, has a bunch of at-will abilities instead of prepared spells, the Kineticist is going to be the class for you. It's going to be one that has a lot of different options for how you build it, how many elements you use, and lets you kind of go all in on one element and be, the fire blaster character, or lets you dabble with a bunch of different ones and combine them in cool ways. The Kineticist uses impulses instead of spells, which are a new type of magical action that lets them create cool constructs out of their element or blast creatures with their element. There's really just a wide variety of this. It's one of our kind of most in-depth classes. It's got a lot of new stuff that's particular to this class. So it's got a really long section, but it's also really, kind of clear how to build one and lets you kind of do this dedicated blaster character. That's something we haven't really had in second edition yet. The book also has a whole bunch of new elemental lore about the elements and the planes given to you by characters from within the setting, as well as new spells, items, and creatures for each element. So you'll get a whole bunch of new air spells, new fire items, and a little something for every element. And that includes the 2 new elements are going to get full sets of elementals to go with them and have a little bit more space devoted to them since they're kind of new and are bringing in some extra concepts. We've also revised how we do genies, and we're going to have new genies called the Zura and the Kizidhar, which are related to those new elements of metal and wood. As well as Geniekin and a bunch of other cool elemental stuff for building your elemental characters and having a lot of fun with all these concepts. The book's really gorgeous. It's got a lot of cool story in it, and you can get it now. It's out. There's a hardcover version. There's the special edition version with kind of leatherette cover and the bookmark, and there's a pocket edition that's a little smaller, a little more economical, easier to carry around with you. We're going to have a full stream where I'm going to go through and kind of do a director's commentary on Rage of Elements. And you can see that stream on Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern or 7 a.m. Pacific. This is also related to the next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remaster project. The remaster is a set of new core books. The first 2 are going to come out in November. Those are Player Core and GM Core. The main player book that most players are going to want to have, and then a GM book that's kind of all in one place, unlike the previous books for 2nd edition, which had the core rulebook having a split of player and GM content, and then the Game Mastery Guide expanding on it. This is going to take all the GM stuff and kind of put it in one book and put all that in a little easier to understand order and make it a little more user-friendly. So the remaster, one of its core principles is this user-friendliness, is presenting new core books so new players and GMs can really get the full effect of the game. It's got improved organization, a lot of better clarifications based on fan feedback, things that people wanted to know, and a few expansions of things that we kind of wish we'd had in the game. And now this is our chance to put in a few quality of life improvements, as we like to say. The other important thing here is that the remaster is going to use the new Orc license instead of the OGL. So one of the other purposes behind this is completely removing our dependence on that license and some of the things that we're using only because of that. We've now kind of cut those out and used it as a way to streamline the game and introduce some cool concepts that are more unique to Pathfinder. So there's going to be a lot of fun new things to discover in there. Whether you're a new player or an existing player, there's going to be new spells, new items, class revisions for those folks who've been around a while. And for brand new folks, all that same cool stuff is going to be there and is going to be a little refined and spiffed up, so you're really getting the best version of these. The cool thing about the remaster is that it is a remaster. It's not a new edition. What it's doing is still going to make almost all the stuff already printed for Pathfinder 2nd Edition still usable in your new games. If there's a spell that was in core rulebook and we removed it, you can still use that spell. It's still going to work within the rules. And for anything that requires a little bit of adaptation, we're going to have some guidelines for those. And one of the ways you can check that out right now is go to paizo.com/core preview, all one word, no punctuation. You're going to find a document that has everything you need to use the Rage of Elements rules with the remaster. That includes all the spells that are referenced in Rage of Elements that weren't already in a Pathfinder 2nd Edition book. It includes the new genies that are going to later appear in Monster Core. We want to kind of give a preview of those now so people can get the full context for how they work with Rage of Elements. And it's also got a few notes about how the rules are adapted. And that's going to also include some things that say, look, if you want to try these out now, here are the adjustments you need to make to your game. And when the full books come out later, you're going to get all of the full context for these. But the preview gives you a really nice little dab of what that project is going to look like in its final version. So that goes back to Rage of Elements, which is the first book that is actually fully compatible with the remaster. So the reason we're doing the core preview now is because that Rage of Elements book has a few things that you'll need to adapt if you're using it under the current second edition rules. Most of them are very straightforward. And then it's also going to be totally a useful and complete book once the remaster rules do drop in November. If you want to learn more about the remaster, we also have a dedicated stream all about that project with some of the other members of the team. So if you come back on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern or 7 a.m. Pacific, you'll see Michael Sayer, James Case, and Jason Bullman talking all about some of the cool stuff you're going to be seeing in the remaster. You're going to see a few cool previews, like what the new layout looks like, a few of the monster images for Monster Core, and maybe a new character sheet. So come back 10 a.m. on Saturday, and you'll get a whole lot of more information for those folks. Again, the remaster books, the first two release in November. That is Player Core and GM Core. And then Monster Core with the first batch of monsters, and Player Core 2 with 8 more classes and a bunch of other cool new ancestries and other stuff are going to come out in 2024. If you do want to pick up Player Core and GM Core, you can go to your friendly local game store. There's actually a retailer exclusive sketch cover, which uses Wayne Reynolds sketch images for the covers. Those are really gorgeous looking. You can also get the standard hardcover, which has the full color version of those images, or you can get a special edition hardcover with the leatherette and the bookmark and all that cool stuff. With that, I'm going to hand things off to Michael Sayer, our design manager, who's going to tell you a little bit about some other projects that are not yet announced. So, Mike, take it away.
Hey, I'm Michael Sayer, the design manager here at Paizo, and my part of the keynote here is to tell you about a secret book and playtest that are going to be coming up in the very near future. I'm not ready to tell you exactly what the name of this book is yet, because, spoiler, it's a spoiler. But it will be part of a linked product set that includes our narrative line, the design team, the Lost Omens line, and our upcoming announced novel. All of these are going to be linked together, telling an exciting story that both our authors and our fans will all get to experience together as we push the world of Golarion forward into places it has not gone before. Even the gods may die in a war that spans the mortal and spiritual realms. And I'm not just talking about demigods or deities who appeared in, side stories and things like that. No, some member of the core 20 deities of Golarion will not survive this event. This event will be supported by a playtest that will start September 1st and run through October 2nd, and that playtest will include 2 new classes, neither of which has ever appeared in the Pathfinder RPG before. These classes will come with new iconics, and while I'm not supposed to give you many or any spoilers, I will tell you that the classes and iconics were written and conceived of by myself and James Case, and I think you will see quite a bit of who we are in these characters and the way that we have told their stories and presented them. Keep a close eye on the forums during the course of this playtest, as we may have additional announcements and materials for you to peruse. This is going to be a big deal, and it's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen before, and we're excited to take this adventure with you. Make sure you set aside plenty of time for adventuring during that playtest window, which, to repeat, is September 1st through October 2nd. These classes will use the new remastered materials coming with the Player Core and GM Core, but you will be able to get a taste of that early by going to the Pathfinder preview URL mentioned in our Rage of Elements volume, available right now. Using those documents and information presented in the playtest materials, you will be able to get to play 2 fully remaster compatible classes that will show you a little bit of the direction of the future of this game. And in case you missed it the first time I said it, neither of these classes or iconics has ever appeared in the world of Galarian before. So we're looking forward to taking this adventure with you, and we will have more information for you in September when the playtest kicks off. Thanks so much again, everybody, for listening. We're looking forward to seeing you. We're hoping that you enjoy the materials we have here, and I want you all to have a fantastic Gen Con. Take care.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a great Gen Con. We are excited to be telling you about a whole bunch of our great setting and adventure content that's coming down the line. I'm John Compton. I'm a senior developer at Paizo. I work on the Pathfinder Adventure Path, and joining me is...
Hi, I'm Luis Loza. I'm creative director working on the rules and lore side of Pathfinder.
So every so often, we have the wonderful opportunity to make the setting line and the narrative cross paths and support each other in wonderful and wild new ways. And that's one of the opportunities that we had recently with both the Sky King's Tomb Adventure Path as well as Lost Omen's High Helm. Both of these tie into the setting's dwarves. And it's been a really great opportunity in order to not only explore what sorts of stories they tell about themselves and how you can be involved, but also really a way of cracking back into an ancestry that has really a whole bunch of like tabletop RPG history. Certainly the Lost Omens dwarves are, they got their beards, they got their beer, all sorts of fun like that. But we've been branching out. We've been exploring new bits about their culture, their history, and how to show that off in our setting, our products. But really, the Sky King's Tomb Adventure Path followed after High Helm. High Helm really got the ground running for this. So, Luis, you want to give us a quick overview of what we can expect for Lost Omens High Helm?
Yeah, absolutely. Lost Omen's High Helm, for those of you who are about to play in the Sky King's Tomb Adventure Path or just wanting to learn more about dwarves, is your go-to source about the Sky Citadel of High Helm, which is kind of the cultural center for all of the dwarf that live in Avestan and the Inner Sea region. It's the dwarfiest dwarf city that we have in the setting at the moment. And it happens to be kind of a great headquarters for something like the Sky King's Tomb Adventure Path or any other campaign that you're looking to do. It's a very interesting city in that it's built into a mountain, multiple tiers that are carved inside of this hollowed out mountain. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Not only do you have dwarves living there, but you also have humans, elves, lots of trade and commerce with outside neighbors, a lot of stuff going on. It's a real big metropolis that just happens to be a predominantly dwarven city. There are also a number of rules options available in this book for both dwarven and other characters alike. There are new monsters, new spells, new magic items, a lot of great fun stuff that you can play with to really inject some dwarven goodness into your adventures or to your campaigns. And alongside with that, of course, you have the full breakdown of how the city works, life, culture, the different movers and shakers within the city. A lot of information that really helps you use that the city of High Helm for your campaigns in whatever way you like, or again, like I mentioned, as your kind of home base for something like Sky King's Tomb, which from what I hear kicks off right inside the middle of High Helm. Isn't that right, John?
Absolutely. So Sky King's Tomb is a 3-part adventure path. It takes you from level 1 to level 10. And like as I've been working on it, I've realized that you could play the entire thing without ever seeing the sun. So it's going to start you off in High Helm, as Luis said. You're going to spend a fair amount of time there in the first volume before it takes you increasingly and incrementally deeper and deeper into the Darklands, which is our extensive underground area. So you're going to be not just exploring tunnels and abandoned ruins and networks like that, but you're also going to be going to a number of other subterranean cities, each one of them wilder and perhaps a little bit more dangerous than the last. And that's really been one of the interesting places to play around with our setting, is that each city is different in its own way. It has its own personality. And especially when you're underground, things like subsistence, things like, how do people navigate? Who can see what? Really become interesting questions that shape that place's design. And so we have, in our second volume in particular, several very weird places, one of which really wants you dead, that you're going to be going into, and in one case, infiltrating. So speaking of interesting cities, like Louise, I mean, we mentioned that, like, hey, dwarves, stone, beard, spear. What makes High Helm different? Like, what makes High Helm jump out as a gazetteer?
Yeah, well, like I said, it is built into the mountain, which is already interesting in and of itself. But a lot of dwarven media has you delving underground and things like that. What I think is really interesting about the dwarves of Pathfinder are their focus on tradition, specifically around clans, large, enormous. I'm talking thousands of members, big clans that focus on various specialties or particular subjects. We have Clan Tolor, for example, which is all about keeping track of the history of the different dwarves throughout the ages and stuff like that. So each of these different clans has different specialties, which comes with a lot of different support in terms of if you want to maybe be a warrior, you join up with a particular clan. If you maybe want to be a farmer, there's a different clan for that. There's a lot of information on how these clans shape and influence the life within High Helm in a way that is, I think, really interesting and really makes for an easy latching on point for all players and GMs to look forward to. If you really are interested, there's even information on joining the clan, whether or not you're a dwarf. If you end up playing Sky King's Tomb, for example, we don't have any specific prerequisite that you have to play a dwarf. You can play a human, you can play an orc if you want, and all of them with enough respect and hard work could earn a place within one of these clans and really cement themselves within the dwarven legacy of High Helm. John,
Yeah, and
while
particularly on that point, you're mentioning, like, you don't have to play a dwarf, and there are all sorts of ways to get involved in this clan structure as well. That plays really heavily into Sky King's Tomb, because you are working with Clan Tolar, that history-focused clan, very early on. And one of Clan Tolar's sticks that I really love from High Helm is that they're all about living history. Like, history is not just supposed to be in a history book and lying dusty and something that you cover in seventh grade social studies class. It's really something that you live out every day, and not just in the traditions, but also in terms of, like, Clan Tolar has a whole bunch of historical reenactors, and that is one of the backgrounds that you can take for your PC in this adventure path. Is I sure was into LARPing and or SCA or things like that. How can it turn me into an adventurer? A thought that I'm sure none of us have ever had before. So that ties into the Sky King's Tomb Player's Guide. Every time that we do one of these adventure paths, we do release a very low spoiler or no spoiler Player's Guide. That is a quick little document to read through that will catch you up to speed on some of the local culture, some of the tips for building characters, and it reinforces in there that this is a dwarf focused adventure path, but it is not a dwarf only adventure path by any means. There's a huge variety of people, not just within High Helm, but a huge number of reasons why any number of characters and playable ancestries might be joining up with Clan Tolar to help them with this cool task ahead.
Absolutely. There's a lot of great information in that player's guide. A lot of great information in High Helm as well that you can use for your Sky King's Tomb adventure path. Sky King's Tomb and Lost Omens High Helm are now both available at Paizo.com and your friendly local gaming store. At the very least, the first volume of Sky King's Tomb is a 3-part adventure path, as John mentioned. So you can kick that off right now and have all the resources you need to get that going. But if you want to delve in deep and really learn some of the secrets of High Helm and Sky King's Tomb, I think, John, we should maybe talk a little bit more in depth about the different stuff that we have here. Do you think maybe there's a good opportunity for people to learn more about both of these products in the coming days?
Yeah, certainly. So if you're watching this, you're probably already part of the big Gen Con experience, whether it's online or in person. Luis and I are going to be showing up in an upcoming panel where we're going to go much more into depth on these things. But I feel that, just talking about what the products are here is just a little bit too little of a teaser to leave people on. So let's just share a couple of little facts and spoilers about what lies ahead, so you know what to tune in for in the coming days. Something for Sky King's Tomb is that even though it's a whole bunch of underground exploration, that first volume really does a lot of urban sandbox exploration. And it's a really great opportunity for you to take characters that, even if you don't have a lot of backstory for them, to play around with all sorts of little bits of High Helm drama and opportunities to figure out what your character really feels about these things. What is your character's personality? Like, what's the reputation I'm creating for myself? Because in Dwarven culture, it's not just about what people did 10,000 years ago or what that vaunted ancestor did. It's about what you do. how you're inspired by it. So you're going to find that your characters start off as rather unknowns, even if you have a bit of a nice welcome to High Helm and ways to get involved. But you're going to have all sorts of opportunities to show off exactly what types of player characters you are and why people should recognize your name. Some of the little moments that aren't like full-on side quests, they're like local contests that you can get involved in. There's something called the Stickleberry Festival, which is tied to a local type of fruit, and people are doing, like one of those local celebrations where they're going to have the Stickleberry Sovereign that people vote on. Maybe it's your character, or are you going to win the Stickleberry Pie eating contest? These are things that are not classic, like roll for initiative combat moments, but they're moments that help you understand the full breadth of what Dwarven culture has to offer and how your characters can develop some really fun stories that they can take with them throughout the entirety of the adventure path, especially once they're way underground and are surrounded by terrible foes. They'll always remember that they won the Stickleberry contest.
Absolutely. And in terms of a few little secrets, teases for that upcoming panel, I ended up discussing a little bit about the process, the philosophy, putting this book together, and also talked about, well, teased, I guess, a few possible story hooks that were kind of woven into High Helm in a way that might be something that we tap on in the future. But in addition to that, one of the things we do get a chance to show off during this panel is some of the concept work that was used for Lost Omens High Helm. Our internal concept artist, Kent Hamilton, did a lot of work in fleshing out the look of these 12 clans that I mentioned earlier. And we are going to get to show off some never before seen concept art during that panel. So if you want to see just some of the fun little bits that help breathe these clans to life, I recommend checking out that panel and maybe pausing and trying to read all of Kent's notes and see what all of the extra information that was used to really flesh out the writing in the book and make these clans really come to life. It's just great art in the first place, so check that out. And I think I'm going to stop there. I don't want to give away too many of these secrets. You'll want to come by and check out the panel here very soon to learn just all of the things that we are willing to share, even just within that 1 hour or so period that we had.
Yeah, and just speaking to the concept art real quick, like Kent's concept art for High Helm in particular really challenges the idea that dwarves have kind of just one look. Like even in a single location like High Helm, thanks to this concept art, we've been able to explore a huge variety in types of costume and equipment, even the variation in dwarves' clan daggers, which is a relatively new piece of equipment that many dwarves have that's important to your personal identity. Like, what's the culture behind it, and how does that show up in each of our illustrations? So each one of these Lost Omen books is a new opportunity to really dig into the setting, ask a whole bunch of questions, and then show off all of our discoveries and findings and ideas with the public. So we're excited for you to get your hands on these books, to get your adventures started, and to delve deeper and deeper underground in the Sky King's Tomb adventure path and with Lost Omens High Helm. And we're going to dig even deeper into these topics with you in a couple of days.
Thanks, everybody, and we hope you have a good Gen Con, and we look forward to speaking to you again at the panel.
Hello, everybody. It's lovely to see you on the internet once more, and welcome back. My name is Alex Speidel. I'm Paizo's Organized Play Coordinator.
And I am Linda Zayas Palmer. I am the development manager for the narrative team, which produces Pathfinder adventures as well as organized play. Speaking of organized play, let me ask you, Alex, a question that I'm sure you've gotten many times. What is organized play, and how do people get started with it?
Yes, we're here to talk about organized play today, but so for those of you who don't know, organized play, or some may know it as Pathfinder or Starfinder Society, is our worldwide living campaign. It's an ongoing campaign that's been going since the launch of each edition, and it's a living campaign, so players' choices during scenarios and adventures affect what's going on. It's really designed to be kind of a drop-in, drop-out style of play, where you can go to your friendly local games store every week, every couple of weeks, whenever you have time. It's also designed so that you can take the same character with you to any organized play table around the world, whether you're at your local game store, at Gen Con in Indianapolis, or even flying halfway around the world. You can take the same character, it'll work just fine. Our adventures, we release scenarios each and every month, and these scenarios, in addition to being used for organized play, are also great if you're looking for a one-shot, if you're looking to try out Pathfinder or Starfinder for the first time. They're really nice, self-contained adventures that kind of contribute to a larger narrative, but they're really great for you to just grab and run in an evening for your friends if you want to. If you're interested in learning more about the program beyond what we'll talk about today, you can check out our new shiny Getting Started pages. If you go to paizo.com/Pathfinder Society/Get Started or Starfinder Society/Get Started, then you can check out sort of the basics of the program and figure out how to get involved with everything that we're doing. So that's what organized play is, but we want to talk a little bit about what's going on at Gen Con. So Linda, what's going on at Gen Con? What new adventures are we running for the people?
So this Gen Con is going to be the first physical run of our new interactive special for Starfinder Society, the Battle for the Bulwark. This is an interactive special, so it's going to be a huge event. All of the tables in the room working toward a common goal. So their big goal in this case, we have Sangoro's Bulwark, which was a fortress that was owned and maintained by one of the factions of the Starfinder Society, but it got completely overrun by mysterious forces. And now it's time for a large strike team to come in, reclaim the bulwark, rescue any survivors, and drive out the foul forces that dare to take the lives of the Starfinder stationed there. This is an adventure by Lyle Kapp and Cole Kronwitter. And premiering for the first time, we have Unearthing Alumbia, which is part of the meta plot of the Year of Fortune's Fall. It's really time to dive right into the heart of that meta plot. This year, the Starfinder Society is working against a mysterious criminal organization that they just know as the organization right now because they're not really sure what it's called. But they're going to get a chance to figure out more about what that organization is trying to do. Traveling to the ruins of Alumbia, a civilization that is most known for the fact that it doesn't really seem to have any archaeological discoveries of significance. But there's a reason why the society hasn't figured out what's going on there, and the organization has been taking a deep interest in them. And you're going to find that out, as well as getting a chance to confront the organization directly. This season is also Gen Con is also the time for a crucial turning point in the Starfinder Society's future: the election of a new first seeker to lead them. This is an adventure by our very own Alex. So, Alex, why don't you tell us a bit about the candidates and how people can get involved in choosing the Starfinder Society's future?
Yes, absolutely. So the Starfinder Society in universe is led by the First Seeker. They sort of set the mandate of the society, they shape what the society looks like and what it does, and it is time to elect a new one. So in 606 Tomorrow's Seekers, written by yours truly, as Linda mentioned, you will get to meet the 4 candidates for First Seeker. Each of these candidates were submitted player characters that have played through the campaign. Your characters will get to meet all 4 of these candidates, go on a little mission for them, and learn a little bit more about what they want to do with the society. Afterwards, you can play the scenario as many times as you want, but the voting will open. It is open right now, actually, because it's Gen Con. It's open from now until October 31st. You can go online to paizo.com/firstseeker and cast your vote for who you think should be the first seeker. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit about each of the candidates, but you've really got to meet them in the scenario, so I highly recommend you play it, not just because I wrote it. But the 4 candidates for the first seeker we can show you. I'll go from left to right real quick. First on the left is Nikitopoulos Lampidephoros. She goes by Nikiti. All her friends call her Nikiti. She is a Sarcesian, and she is focused on magic and divination and exploring kind of the magical artifacts the society holds, as well as some magical absurdities and oddities in the universe. Next is Aurora Everbright. She is a halfling. She is a daredevil racer pilot you may recognize from some vidcasts. She is all about putting the society's image out there and making the Starfinders into real, genuine stars, showing people the good that the Starfinder Society can do, and making sure that we get all the attention we deserve. Next up is Dr. Heldon Savale, a half-orc. He is a scientist, he is an explorer, and his big thing is that he wants to embark on a grand research expedition, catalog the natural world, the flora and fauna throughout the universe, and figure out how to make low-cost medicinals that will help people in the Pact Worlds. Finally is Sarmak. Sarmak is an Isilgun electrician. The Isilgun are a species whose storyline we've been tracking throughout the Starfinder Society campaign. One of them has now finally come to the fore and is possibly our next first seeker. He wants to do a lot of exploration, particularly of huge megastructures, and especially he's interested in Abalon and the First Ones and sort of the technological anasites that they left behind. So 4 very interesting candidates, each with a different mission. I hope that you meet them and fall in love with all 4 of them. And don't forget to cast your ballots between now and October 31st once again. So that's what we've got going on the Starfinder side. Linda, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening in Pathfinder Society? Because Gen Con, of course, a very exciting time for Pathfinder Society.
Yes, of course. We have plenty of scenarios for Pathfinder Society, both wrapping up the year of Boundless Wonder and launching into our new season, the year of Unfettered Exploration. So first off, we have Dassaline Academy's First Great Prank War, a scenario that is precisely as whimsical as you would expect, given the title. The Dassaline Academy is a boarding school that has students who are generally the children of agents of the Pathfinder Society. So when things go a little awry there, then Pathfinders are often called in to resolve things. In this case, a whimsical prank war draws the attention of a nearby caravan of Fae, some of whom just want to get out on the fun, and some of whom have more nefarious intentions. So it is going to be up to you to set things right and make sure that this event is a roaring success. Then we have scenario. So that one is by John Curtin, Desolate Academy's First Great Prank War. Then we have scenario 417, Trapping the Hag's Claw by Lyle Cap. This is going to be our conclusion to the year of Boundless Wonder, where the Pathfinder Society is finally going to get the chance to trap and corner and defeat one of their most pernicious villains, the Night Hag Aslan, who has been haunting the Society's dreams quite literally for many years now, setting up a trap with the help of the Decemvirate. But Aslan is not going to go down easy, but your high-level PCs can be the ones to make sure that she finally stops causing mayhem and trouble for everyone. And then the last one in year 4 is our interactive special, the world premiere of Blessings of the Forest, where we're going to get to adventure in a place that the Pathfinder Society really hasn't done much with at all. The Elven nation of Kyunin. The Pathfinder Society receives a request from the Queen herself for their assistance in investigating a demon-obsessed elf noble who has ominous plans. What could possibly go wrong with someone who has grand plans to engage in demonic rites? And the Pathfinder Society is going to need to pull out all the stops to stop something terrible from happening in the forests of Kyunin. That is by Dennis Muldoon and Ivis K. Flanagan. After that, we also have, as I mentioned, the launch of the Year of Unfettered Exploration, which is a year that, as its name suggests, is all about exploring and going to new places and uncovering new opportunities. This season is going to kick off with the intro to the Year of Unfettered Exploration. What better place to start a season focused on exploration than the Pathfinder Society's own hedge maze full of portals that lead all over the world and beyond. And that's exactly what you're going to be doing. In the first scenario, the intro, the characters are going to be welcoming a new venture captain, Tywale, showing him around the maze and discovering some new opportunities that have recently arisen. As the design team mentioned earlier in this keynote, Rage of Elements is the big new hardcover book release, and you will have a chance to dive right into the action and see how that upheaval on the elemental planes is impacting the Pathfinder Society and their allies. In the Blackwood Lost, we see all sorts of elemental mayhem at a camp that is researching some old ruins in the Blackwood Swamp, and the Pathfinder Society is going to need to dive in and save the researchers before it's too late. So that is what we have going on for our new scenarios at Gen Con. Alex, if I want to get involved and play one of these adventures, how do I do that?
We've got so many ways for you to jump in and play with us at Gen Con. If you're in Indianapolis and you're somehow watching this, hi, hello, I hope the hotel room is lovely. You can come up to the Sagamore Ballroom, bays 4 and 5. We have slots beginning daily at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m. If you've got tickets or if you've got generics that you'd like to get seated, come on up before those times and we'll do our best to get you seated. We've also got walk-up bounties all day. You can come up and check in at the info desk and we'll get you into a 1-hour quick Pathfinder or Starfinder Society adventure, give you just a little taste of what's going on. We also, if you've never played Pathfinder before but you'd like to check it out, we have demos available in Hall C. That's Hall C, right behind the HQ. Ask around, we're happy to point you the right way. You can also stop by the Paizo booth 203, just to say hi to us. If you're at Gen Con Online or you'd like to be at Gen Con Online, you can sign up at gencon.com/online. The badges are free. Again, our slots begin at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., and 8 p.m. You can join our Discord server at paizo.events to ask questions and to get involved in games. I also wanted to let people know that in addition to Gen Con, Paizo will be attending PAX Unplugged this year in Philadelphia, December 1st through 3rd. We'll have demos of Pathfinder and Starfinder, as well as for the very first time, we'll have demos of our board games. We'll be demoing Goblin Firework Fight and Elemental Stones. So we hope to see you all out there checking that out. It'll be a really great time. Linda, before we sign off, do you want to give the people just a little bit of a tease of some things they might be able to expect coming up in organized play later this year that we might not have announced yet?
Yes, of course. For Starfinder Society, I will say desert racing and ghost ships. And for Pathfinder Society, Arcadia and Cursed Dollhouse.
Oh, go ahead and chew on that, folks. Very cryptic
All of that
hints.
coming later this year.
Just later this year? My goodness, what could possibly be coming in 2024? Well, I think that's
tell
just
you more about that later.
Indeed. I think that's just about all of our time. Linda, would you like to say goodbye to the people?
Have fun, everybody. Good gaming.
Have fun. Good gaming. And hang on. I'm getting some kind of a signal from deep space?
Wow. Did you see that, everyone? That's right. Today, we're announcing Starfinder 2nd Edition. Hi, everyone. My name's Thurston Hillman. I am the Managing Creative Director for the Starfinder team here at Paizo. And with me are, well, all of the members of the Starfinder team. I've got our senior developer, Jenny Jarzabski. We've got our developer, Dustin Knight. We've got our Starfinder Society developer, Jessica Catalan. And, well, we're here to talk about our big announcement of Starfinder 2nd Edition and what this means and where we're going and what's happening with the Starfinder role-playing game. I'm going to start us off, and I'm going to talk a lot. So, my team's going to interrupt me because they need to. Someone needs to stop me because we're all very excited about this because we haven't been able to talk about this for a long time, and we can finally talk about it. So Starfinder 2nd Edition is going to be the next iteration, the next edition of the Starfinder role-playing game, and it is going to be, and I will drop the first bomb here. 100% compatible with Pathfinder 2nd Edition, built with the new remaster line of books in mind. This means that you're going to be able to pick up your existing Pathfinder 2nd Edition books, and when Starfinder comes out, you're going to be able to slot all that content into your games. Or, if you're a Pathfinder player and when these books come out, you're going to be able to take all this cool Starfinder stuff and put it into your Pathfinder games, and it's going to work seamlessly. We're really, really excited for this. As you can tell, it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, and all this is going to sort of build up to our playtest rulebook that we're going to be releasing next summer 2024. We're going to release a playtest rulebook to get people out there testing what we've got in the works, and with a full release of the game in 2025. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, it's 2023, Thurston. Why are you announcing this now? Why would you announce it so early? Why, right? Well, part of that is because we actually are looking to make this the most open playtest that Paizo has ever really done before. This is going to mean a few things. One, you're going to see a lot of content over the coming weeks and months about this. We're going to be seeing, blog content, social media posts, maybe even a couple cheeky streamed games from the team where we show you off some of the content, what's going on behind the scenes. And this is all going to start actually right now. We aren't just dropping an announcement of a book that's going to come out in a year. We're going to give you some stuff right off the bat. And I'm going to say this probably 80 times during this presentation, but you're going to want to go to starfinderplaytest.com, where right now you can download our free field test. And what is a field test, you wonder? Well, a field test is not a playtest in the traditional way that Paizo's done them, but it's actually a bit of a view behind the scenes on where we're at with some stuff. And this field test is going to include a bunch of different content. It's going to start you with the soldier class, the first class we're revealing today. And this soldier class we're going to give you a snippet of it, levels 1 to 5. So you can build a 1st through 5th level soldier. We're going to give you a couple space guns to use to make that soldier work.
Pew, pew, pew.
And one or two critters. Pew pew, right? The team is pew pewing in support of me. And yeah, the soldier that we're gonna have is a new class, a tank that specializes in heavy area of effect weapons. And you're gonna get to see the first 5 levels of this class, as well as maybe a couple other little interesting bits and bobs in there. But really quick, I kind of want to just hand it off to the team, just initial excitement here. How's everyone feeling about this, because we finally get to talk about it?
So excited.
So excited. I've
sentiments.
It's been so hard not to talk about this
news. Yes.
Yes.
It's been a while now. Yeah. Well, how about we wet everyone's whistle with a little bit more content? So we said, we announced the soldier. We've got some concept art to show.
We should show
our concept artist, Kent Hamilton, has been hard at work. So we're going to start off with our first iconic, the reptilian Vesk Obozaya, who is making her way from 1st edition. And you're going to notice a couple things about this artwork. It's that Obozaya is getting a bit long in years, not quite as spry with the Doshko as she once was. And
hey, don't say that. She is still powerful. Okay,
she is still very powerful, as evidenced by the gun. Yes. So the soldier's actually swapping out, and it's not going to be as much of a melee powerhouse as as you would expect. It's actually going to be a class that specializes in big area guns, and Obozaya here does it. Now, that doesn't mean that Obozaya has put away the Doshko. Far from it. In fact, there's a whole build around having a little close combat component. So Doshkos are still on the menu. This art is just great, and it's kind of emblematic of the art we're going to be seeing throughout. As we head towards the new edition, because we're taking our characters and really sort of aging them up, leveling them up. And I think our next iconic here is going to be one that is very representative of some of the directions we're taking. You've seen Mystic Sheeran before, and now you're going to see our new Mystic Sheeran. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Chick Chick, our iconic mystic. You may recognize Chick Chick from our old iconic Keskadai, who maybe brought Chick Chick around in a little larval container, like the one Chick Chick is carrying in this image. And the Mystic class is one we've been having a lot of fun playtesting. It's all about forming. Well, Dustin, tell us, give us a little preview of what the Mystic's about. Like
the Mystic's all about forming bonds with your allies, and then using that bond to create a network of vitality that you could draw upon to activate all your cool abilities and heal everybody.
The divine
it's
sippy
really
cup.
awesome.
It's great. It's great. Like top
It's
notch
a divine
stuff.
sippy cup. Yes,
Yeah.
that has been our
Obadiah
name for
loves
it in
it.
playtest. Yes.
Maybe not the name for it, but she loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
She loves the functionality of it.
And Chick Chick here, one thing that we're, really excited for is certainly, you can see Chick Chick's old larval container built into his pain glaive weapon that he wields. He's got another larval container. Don't worry, Chick Chick probably long-term isn't carrying other children into battle. He's just got his brother on loan right now. Mostly so we can have a little continuity here. Yeah. But like, as a mystic who worships the new and old deity Zon Shalin, Chick Chick has a different view on life. Maybe a bit more of a how would you describe it, Jenny? How would you describe Chick Chick's view on things after living a life in a larval container?
Chick Chick believes in channeling one's pain, traumatic experiences, and just general emotion into art. Sometimes Chick Chick does that quite literally with creating art, and sometimes he does that through his handy dandy pain glaive, with which he can share those emotions and feelings with other people on the battlefield. Probably one of my favorite moments at work in recent times was singing some My Chemical Romance at Jason Bullman while he GM'd us through a play test when I got my turn to play as Chick Chick. It was beautiful. So yeah, that's our Chick Chick, our emo son. Everyone, it's Chick Chick.
All right, so we've had an old and new. Let's maybe view another of our iconic pieces. Here's our next piece, the iconic envoy Navasi. Now Navasi has certainly aged and leveled up quite a bit.
Also a glow up. I love that.
Yeah, obligatory scar is going on. We've got a lot of guns. Cool. There's a lot of guns. The sort of the clothing that was so integral to Navasi's background is now a bit torn up and ratty. It's much like my blue Balali blanket that I've had since I was a toddler that I refuse to get rid of and sits in tatters in my home. Navasi also has some clothing that she refuses to get rid of. But as our envoy, envoys are a class we're actively kind of working on right now. Jessica, do you want to give us like one or two little things about where envoys are at right now and some of the directions we're going with them as a class?
I would love to. Envoys are going to be a great help to your pals on the battlefield. They like to issue directives and give orders to their pals. And, if you take their advice, you get some benefits. And sometimes they like to lead by example. They follow through on the own orders they've given, you get a little bit more something going on. They are also very capable of holding their own when things turn south. So you are not just standing by to give a couple buffs to your pals. You get to get right in there too. And I'm really excited for where we're taking the envoy.
Yeah, awesome. All right. That brings us then. We have one more class and iconic we want to show. And this one we just got today, so we're all very excited about. But also, this is another new iconic, our new iconic Solarian. People who have seen our Solarian in the past, our trusty Kasatha Altronus, probably have some questions about this change because this is a new ancestry. This is our unnamed Solarian. We're going to go into some details later on. But this, the Solarian is sort of a class that we're deep in development on right now. We're not going to talk too much about what's up with Solarians yet. We're going to save that for the future. But this is our iconic Solarian, who is most notably one of our new core ancestries, the Patra. And the Patra, the Patra, the feline Patra, they're gonna step up to prominence in the Starfinder setting in a big way. In fact, their homeworld of Polonis is going to be the newest Pact world for our new edition. So some big changes there, and this iconic really is emblematic of some of the art style that we want to show off, and just has like a very very future, but also, how did we describe it, summer party 90s vibe to her. Oh, it's great, and we can't wait to show a bit
very
more. We've got even
nostalgia and like futuristic retro. I love it.
And,
is that retro now? The 90s? Oh my god. Anyway,
don't do that.
I'll stop talking
as my face melts. And also our iconic Solarian has a lovely little camera drone, because they are absolutely one heck of a infosphere media star. We'll have more to talk about them in the future, but that's it for our 4 iconics that we wanted to show, and so sort of giving you a bit of the groundwork on 4 of the classes we have in the works. We may or may not have a couple of more classes we're working on. We may or may not have some other ancestries and other things going on, but we wanted to sort of bring it around to give maybe a bit more information, but in a personal way. The team thought it would be really fun if each of us could sort of bring up a point that we've been excited about in this process. I'm actually gonna pass it off to Jenny to start and tell us, what have you been enjoying about this process and this new edition that just has you like super hyped?
Honestly, I am so excited for the 3-action economy in Starfinder. It's really exciting. It brings a lot of utility opportunities to combat. It cleans some things up. And what it really does, though, is it allows us to have some cinematic moments happen with your characters at the table and with monsters at the table as the GM that are going to support a narrative and just really let you like live the fantasy and tell a story versus just building up to a bigger and bigger bonus. And trust me, the number will still go up, y'all. Like, you're going to still get a big old number and like hit, and it's going to be awesome. But like, we're going to have some really cool stuff. A good example is our soldier is going to have an ability called menacing laughter. So basically, once the soldier has done some damage and suppressed with her big old gun, she can just throw her head back and let out this like terrifying laugh that will demoralize the enemy. Okay, so just cool stuff like that adds to the flavor of the class and the story that we're trying to tell. I'm just so excited about that.
Yeah, we've had a couple moments in the playtest too of just like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, but I've got these other things I can do, and I've got reactions that I can do outside of my turn. It's not
lots
just
of one action abilities too. We're adding a lot of those in as well.
Yeah, like the Mystic right now in our current rendition can spend an action to like pull some health out of their Vitality Web and send it over the sippy cup that we've discussed. So that's like really cool, but because they're still contributing and they're still casting spells. So like even in one of our recent playtests, there was like, I'm casting a spell, I'm trying to defeat the big bad, but also, oh Messiah, I have a little bit of health. It's been really cool, and yeah, the menacing laughter, which you can find over in the field test for the soldier. Through 5 StarfinderPlaytest.com, everybody. That has just been like super fun to see, and is reminiscent of some big burly gentlemen who go around with a chain gun laughing while they mow down foes. It's iconic, right? Well, thank you for that, Jen. I'll jump in next, and I'm gonna hop in and talk about the thing that I've really enjoyed, which is the class interplay and how classes are shaping up right for us. One of the things that's been really important about how we're designing second edition of Starfinder is that we don't want our classes to just be archetype fantasy class in space. So for example, you'll see with the soldier in the field test, it's not a space fighter. It's something different. It's, it's using area weapons. It's suppressing targets. It's doing a lot of things based off of that. It's not just like go up and attack with weapon or, stay at range and shoot. It's got some different play. And similarly, other classes that we're looking at, like the Mystic is not just like a space cleric, so to speak. It's got a different niche where it's creating this bond and this connection with their party members. And all of this is really good, and it means that these classes are going to stand on their own, which is important because you're going to be able to use these classes in Pathfinder games. Similarly, you're also going to be able to use Pathfinder classes in Starfinder campaigns. One neat thing that we've been working on right now as we're going through deities is, in the past, we never really had a strong reason to include some of the deity rules in Starfinder because the Mystic didn't really get connected to them. Now, all of our deities are going to have favored weapons because you could just take a cleric from Pathfinder and play a cleric in a campaign, and you're like, oh, cool, my, cleric of Zon Shalin is going to go around with a pain glaive, and that is going to be totally legitimate in the new edition. And that's just super exciting. Which I invoked Mystic, and I think what I'll do is I'll pass it over to Jessica, who what was your excite bike thing so far here?
I am super excited for max level spellcasting in Starfinder. So Starfinder is a science fantasy game, leans really heavy into technology, but also leans really heavy into magic. And weird and wild things happen all the time. And that fusion is something that has always really appealed to me in Starfinder. So in first edition Starfinder, spells go up to 6th level. But in Starfinder 2nd edition, spells go all the way up to 10th level, just like in Pathfinder 2nd edition. And this helps ensure our magic systems are fully compatible with one another. And it helps to emphasize that magic and technology are both equally important aspects of the game in the setting. They're both equally viable options. So we're already hard at work on lots of new bespoke Starfinder spells, which is really exciting. But our compatibility with Pathfinder also means that when you're making that spellcaster in Starfinder, you also have the entire huge stable of Pathfinder spells to select from. That opens up so much content for players right from day one. And it also frees us up to really focus on spells that are unique to the Starfinder game or the Starfinder setting. You'll find familiar spells from Starfinder 1st edition here coming forward, things like Mind Thrust and Supercharged Weapon and Caustic Conversion, but there will be lots of new ones too. Some of my favorite names that I'll throw at you are Event Horizon, Doom Scroll, Glow Up, Motivating Ringtone. Like, we just get to dive really hard into just fun kind of future magic or playing off tropes that are common to us that we know in, our modern everyday lives. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited for the spells.
We've had so much fun with them in our playtest too. Some of them have been absolutely bonkers broken, by the way, and we're fixing them. Allow me to tell an anecdote of a spell where it's just like, I'm gonna make 4 copies of myself and they can all do things. That one was getting changed. But we've had some, we've had some really fun things, and that's been part of the joy with the playtesting process, is that we've been like able just to throw some weird stuff at the wall and be like, hey, how does this play? Is this like, will this even work? How can we, refine this idea? It's been really exciting. But I think let's bring it on home with Dustin. Dustin, what's your point from the playtest that you're enjoying here?
Man, the cross compatibility is incredible. I can't wait to see a Solarian Poppet with the Red Mantis Assassin dedication and a High Helm campaign. You name it, anything like that. The monsters, though, the monster compatibility is incredibly cool. This game, it's a new game, but you're going to have an entire shelf full of incredibly fun, awesome, compatible, and creatures, monsters, and threats for GMs to use against their players in our system. We've been playtesting right now against Pathfinder 2e monsters, certain
Sure
vampire.
I don't want to say that our game director, Jason Bowman, mind controlled my character, who is a as of yet unannounced class, and that my character then turned against the party. And it sure was interesting to get playtest data based off of what happens when the class you have turns against the party? But it was a stock vampire, and a lot of the encounters we've been doing have been really interesting because we've been able to do them with like stock like Pathfinder Second Edition creatures, which has been super fun.
Super fun. And
Yeah.
when you head over to starfinderplaytest.com, you'll see there are some monsters there in the field guides that you could easily slot into your Pathfinder 2e games and try them out, see what they're like. I really enjoy what we got there. I don't want to spoil it, though, and let you check it out yourself.
At starfinderplaytest.com. See, we're getting up there in the number of times.
www.starfinderplaytest.com.
See, beautiful. But yeah, that about brings us home for what we're here to talk about today. Certainly right now the team is hard at work building the game. All four of us, we have members from the Pathfinder design team who are coming in and assisting us. Big shout out to Jason Bullman and Michael Sayer, who've been invaluable in this process and giving all that sort of design guidance that they have from the Pathfinder side and bringing it over to our side. We do have over at starfinderplaytest.com an FAQ that's going to dive a bit more into details about the status of the game, specifically questions you're going to have, like, how is the game balanced? Do you have different considerations in mind? What's compatible? What's not? What classes are you doing? Is the sky falling because you're not doing first edition anymore? We have all of that. And I swear the sky's not falling. The sky has never had like such a cool horizon ahead of it. As you can tell from all of us, we're very excited by this and what this is going to mean for the future of our game. But between now and next year, there's a lot, and we're going to have a lot of content. We don't want to spoil it all today. We're going to be, like I say, bringing this out over the coming weeks and months, and blog posts in different streams, but possibly probably some more field tests too. We've got a couple on the horizon to give you just again a sense of what's going on behind the scenes. They aren't even really playtests. This is more just to invite you to see what directions we're taking, what we're looking at, and sort of the playground we're in right now. But we obviously want to have feedback. Again, go into that website, starfinderplaytest.com. There's going to be links to our forums. The Starfinder forums is where you can hop in and give us some feedback on what's going on, what your thoughts are, what directions you'd like to see. This is at the end of the day, this is a community driven game. We want to make sure that our community is involved in it. We can do the best that we can to make this game the best for our players, and we're really excited for a lot of the directions we're going, and we want to bring that excitement to all of you and be able to talk about this in a pretty frank and open discussion where we're going to post things, talk about things, let all of you know, this is what we're kind of mucking around with here at Starfinder. So yeah, we just invite you to take this journey with us. I'll say it one last time because I haven't said it enough. Starfinderplaytest.com for all of your up to the minute news on where Starfinder Second Edition and the playtest is at. Again, expect more content in the coming weeks and months. And before I let us go, I'm just going to hand it off one last time for outros from my team here before we hand it off to Erik Mona. Start with Jenny.
Hey, again, I am Jenny Jarzabski, senior developer at Starfinder. Unnamed iconic Solarian enjoyer, and you can find me on Twitter at Space Princess J. It is listed on the bottom of the screen. I'll be there for a bit, and yeah, come talk to me about Starfinder Second Edition. Oh my god! And also Mechageddon, because that's still cool, and I'm also working on that.
Hi, I am Dustin Knight, Starfinder developer. You can find me at Twitter at Warlock Kitsune or all over various Discords as Kitsune Warlock. Feel free to hit me up and we could talk about Starfinder 2. I could post the memes I've been saving for the past year or so, waiting to get them out here. I am super excited about Chick Chick and can't wait to hear people's reactions to it, and super excited for Starfinder Enhanced. So don't forget about that awesome book.
Hey, my name is Jessica Catalan. I am the Starfinder Society developer. You can find me on Twitter at D20Diaries. Enjoy your Gen Con, everybody. Have fun. Also, plenty of Starfinder Society scenarios still coming at you. Go play some now. Have fun. Enjoy.
And finally, hi, I'm Thurston Hillman, the managing creative director for Starfinder. You can find me on all the social media at OnCallGM. I will be at Gen Con, as will Jenny. So if you find us there, feel free to say hi if you have any questions or whatnot, or just, want to ask us tell us about your character. Go ahead. We'll be there at Gen Con. Feel free. Otherwise, I think we're going to pass it on back to our outro over to Erik Mona.
Wow! Oh my gosh, I am back. It's Erik again. Second edition Starfinder. What? I am so excited about that project. The Starfinder team is absolutely firing on all cylinders. I had the opportunity to go through our first field test document that gives the rundown on the upcoming changes, and holy moly, what a way to kick things off. People have been asking us to bring things like the 3-action economy from Pathfinder 2 to Starfinder pretty much since it came out. And here we are finally working toward delivering on that with the formal playtest, full playtest book coming out at next year's Gen Con. But the playtest is already begun, y'all. So check it out. Very, very exciting. Here I am, back with you at the conclusion of our keynote to remind you all of the programming that we talked about during this presentation is summarized at paizo.com/GenCon. There you can get involved with online games. You can see what we've got streaming, including tomorrow morning, where we've got a presentation on Rage of Elements from Logan Bonner, our lead designer himself. We've got additional programming throughout the week. Come on back. Check out our programming on the official Paizo Twitch channel. We would love to have you there. If you are at the show, come on, don't be a stranger. Swing by the booth, swing by the Sagamore Ballroom. Tell us about your character. We absolutely love that. And we love the enthusiasm that people have for Pathfinder and Starfinder. Once again, it has been my honor to meet with you here at the beginning of the best 4 days in gaming. This is an annual event for us. We're absolutely thrilled to be back at the show. We're thrilled to be with you, whether at the show or in real life or online. We welcome you as part of the Pathfinder and Starfinder and Paizo community. We literally couldn't do it without you, and we are just absolutely excited to share really what's like a gaming holiday, essentially, with all of you. So thank you for your time. Please check out Paizo.com/GenCon. Check out Paizo.com/store for our 23% off. Amazing value products there. Come on by the booth for the fan roll dice set to celebrate the release of Rage of Elements. Come on by the Sagamore and the booth for daily free miniatures from our partners at WizKids. Ask Rachel about learning Pathfinder 2nd edition on Roll20. She'll get you a special code for a free beginner box and a free month of Roll20 Pro. So much going on. It's Gen Con, y'all. So amazing. Thank you for your time. Thank you to everybody at Paizo for setting up the booth, for planning out the streams, for being there all weekend long so that everyone can have a wonderful Pathfinder and Starfinder experience. We look forward to this every year. It's finally here. So excited to see you all. So excited for what lies ahead both this week and upcoming with the Pathfinder Remaster, with Starfinder 2nd Edition. So much exciting stuff on the docket, and we are thrilled to be here with you to share the news and look forward to an awesome future. Thank you so much. I have been Erik Mona. We have been Paizo, and we still are. And we'll be here all week long, and we look forward to hanging out with y'all. So, cheers. We'll see you next time, and we'll see you at the booth. Goodbye, everybody.